Now, for Pakatan Harapan to do an inroad, a real inroads to Johor State, it has to depend on the Malay voters. But in the euphoria of the last general elections, and in the ubah euphoria that the Malay hardly live in Johor. I think this is across the board. It's hardly, the Johor Malays are hardly impressed by these ubah sentiments. The Chinese, of course, and the Chinese have dropped down to historical low. The Indians are almost divided, equally divided. But for the Malay, what we observe, even like Malay rural areas like Tanjung Piai, Aitang, or for that matter in Keluang, it is considered second-liners a town. The Malays drop voters turn out, the Malays supporting the Pakatan then was only a fraction, so 3 to 5% changes. So, and then there's another, there's another blind spot for us. And when we talk about the Malay votes dropping, say another 10%, does that mean it all goes to the Pakatan Harapan? It doesn't. Because you are going to enter into three-corner fight, and PAS has openly said that we are going to enter into all the major rings and then to take away. And traditionally, when the Johor Malays, when they're very angry with the government, they vote PAS. They get angry, they vote PAS. That has always been the tendency. So I think as far as Johor is concerned, for Pakatan riders to do a serious inroad is not easy. And I think, as compared to other states, despite the fact that UMNO is the birthplace for the Malay nationalism, but Johor State Malays has never been radical. They don't like radicalism. And that was the reason why in the last general election, it doesn't really work for the Malays. And when it comes to we're talking about the battleground for Johor, for Pakatan riders to have a chance, bigger chance. And it has to have some factors that really influence the voters to change their mind and begin to vote for Pakatan Harapan. So let's look at the economic factors. Yes, granted, we have a problem with the cost of living and higher inflation, and of course the GST and subsidies, removal of subsidy issues. But Johor State is very different. Combinations of the FDI for manufacturing industries. Manufacturing industries in Johor State for the last 6 to 8 years, the massive investments into Johor from foreign direct investment, not talking about property investment, it's manufacturing industries, is the total volume and amount is double the size of Selangor State and Penang states combined. And then on top of that, there's a huge migration, surprisingly, there's huge migrations from people from the central and from the north of peninsulas moving towards the Johor State. And for the last few years, we observed this coming to almost 400,000 people moving to Johor. And that shows that the economic development opportunities are a lot more in Johor as compared to other states. And perhaps you may be interested to know about some figures. In Johor State alone, now you have 50,000 foreign students studying in Johor. So these are the new political environment of Johor, which is very, very different from other places. So I just do not see how the Pakatan Harapans can really do an inroad in Johor. And especially the Khalid Nordin's present administrations is actually very well liked. We have done some survey and rating. His rating is one of the highest amongst all the Malay political leaders. And let's talk about the political factors other than the economic factors. I think Pakatan Harapans are putting the Tan Sri Muhyiddin to contest the state seat and also the federal seat, hoping that Tan Sri Muhyiddin, once the ex-MB of Johor, who can bring a lot of votes to do an inroad in Johor. But that was 20 years ago. And that was overtaken by Abdul Ghani and the present administration. And perhaps in Pago and Moa, Tan Sri Muhyiddin would have some influence. But the extent of the influence, my observation is actually quite limited. And especially now that you have a divided PAS and Amanah in Johor State, and then when they enter into three-corner fight, I think UMNO in Johor in particular would gain more than losing. And for Chinese voters, they've been against Tun M for the last 30 or 40 years, and then all of a sudden you're promoting him, and from the old adversaries become promoting him. And some of the old-timers, especially Chinese voters from 40 years old and above, who still have some impressions or some memories about Tun M, and I don't think they're going to take this these new collaborations among the Pakatan Harapan's parties are very kindly. And as far as Johor is concerned, the social and cultural scenario, when you hardly find any highly charged religious issue in Johor or ethnic clashes. And then finally, I think there's one more important factor about Johor is who are the main power stakeholders in Johor. And the royal family has a very strong influence in Johor. And just bear in mind, the Johor royal family still have old scores with Tun M, and also Tan Sri Muhyiddin for that matters, and the new ones are opening up. And so whenever the Tun M begins to attack the royal families of Johor, and the Malays in Johor doesn't like it, and especially the Johor Tuanku is highly popular in the Johor state, including from all ethnic communities actually like him, because it's very popular in projecting Johor, Bangsa Johor, and Muafakat Johor. And actually, I observed something. You could see that the Johor politics, even UMNO for that matters, is keeping a very subtle distance with the federal UMNO, very subtle. And that's why there's overemphasis on a strong emphasis on Bangsa Johor, Muafakat Johor, and therefore they are playing a very local game, a very state politics game. And I think for that matters, for that reasons, it's quite difficult for Pakatan Harapan to have an inroad in Johor.